What's going on, you guys? It's Michael. Today I have a what sold video for you for the things that sold this past weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. Had about 66 orders go out for 2,400 bucks. One of our better weekends. We typically do about $1,000 a day, so averaging 1,200 on this weekend was great. I'm going to quickly get into the numbers for you guys and start trying to do these videos twice a week, preferably taking chunks of 3 to 4 days and doing them all together and showing you guys some of the better selling things for us that we usually don't find too often, but still pick up on quite often. So if you guys like content like that, make sure you subscribe and get those notifications so that you guys can see the brands and stuff that we're picking up currently. So let's get into this. All right, so these are our numbers over the past weekend, both Saturday and Sunday. Again, both were about, one day was 1,300, one day was 1,100 in sales. And yeah, so we got 66 solds. And by the way, before I get into these expenses, our cost of goods is typically on average $7.25. We don't keep track independently of each item's cost of goods. We do the cash method of accounting instead of the accrual. And so if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. Just know that I took the averages of our normal cost of goods and multiplied that by this 66 number. So the cost of goods is not actually exactly $478.50. It is just an estimate based off of our average for our store. So getting into this, we had $2,400 in sales, and then minus our sales tax collected by eBay, which was baked into this number. And the eBay collects the sales tax and then distributes it to the buyer's local states. And so subtract that out. And then we have our shipping costs of $368.01 minus our final value fee of $290.22. And then we also pay for promoted listings at 10% across the board for all of our listings. And that came out to be $174.35. And then our cost of goods, like I was saying, is $478.50. And so that left us with a profit of $965.28. This was again across 2 days. So if I take this and divide it by 2, we basically profited $482.64 for Saturday and Sunday each. So let's get in and show you guys sort of what sold for us this weekend. All right, so to start off the solds, we have this Scully shirt. A lot of people know about this brand. It's a Western brand. They make really cool embroidered Western shirts. This one had these cool notes to them, some musical notes. What was interesting about this item is that all of their shirts are actually long sleeve, and I could not find anywhere that they made short sleeve shirts. And I picked 4 of these up at a thrift store across the street from our house a couple months back, and all 4 of them were short sleeve. And what I can assume is that the guy who bought these had them tailored to be short sleeve, because again, I cannot find any on eBay or their website that are short sleeve. I don't believe they make short sleeve shirts, but so because of that, I put rare in the title just because. But yeah, so I've sold a couple of these so far. Out of the 4 that I bought, it's probably the 3rd or 4th one left to sell. And yeah, so this one sold for a best offer. It sold for $60 best offer plus shipping. Buyer paid all in $82. And yeah, it was just a quicker sale. Great brand. Their shirts typically sell for at least $50 for us, and just a really cool shirt. And even with like this pilling and stuff that was noted, it still sold really well. So yeah, next item is a Peter Millar new tags, one of the more old models that they make. This is the older tag that they used to use. They've updated it since then, but it was just a simple, I believe, wool or button-up long sleeve, just a polo long sleeve. Yeah, wool blend. And so we usually pick up all Peter Millar stuff nowadays if the price is right, unless it's made out of cotton. This one being new tags made it unique. I believe we paid about $5 for this item, and this sold for the asking price of $71.12 plus shipping. Next item is this Viore pair of joggers. And Viore is a great brand right now. It's competing just as well as Lulu is whenever it comes to the resale market. It's blowing up right now all over the board. My wife picked up a few of these Viore items at a thrift store a couple weeks ago, and literally like 2 weeks ago. And I think we've already sold almost all of them. All of it was women's. This one sold for the asking price of $58.86, and I believe we listed this just last week. So yeah, Viore is a great brand right now. I always pick it up if we find it, and we got lucky with the haul that she had because most of these items were really cheap. There's going to be a few of these in these solds, but just want to show you guys that these do sell really quickly as we listed them all last week. Next one is this Viore hoodie. Not going to go over this too long. Same deal. Almost every Viore item is worth picking up unless the price is astronomically high. So be on the lookout for Viore. Next one is this pair of Hokas. These are a trail running shoe. This model it has more of the aggressive soles for the trails and the gravel and stuff and the dirt. This is the Kaha Low GTX model. Looked these up, and the lowest one sold was around what I paid for, or sold mine for. So took a shot on these. I think I paid like 10 or 15 bucks for these. Even though they had some of this wear and stuff, they still sold really quickly and really well. I accepted an offer on these for $50.01, and they sold, I believe, relatively quickly, probably like within 2 months. So Hoka is a great brand right now. Some of their models are falling off, so make sure you're looking up the models. But the newer stuff and the trail running stuff is doing super well. Bird Dog. Bird Dog is a great brand. I actually own a lot of Bird Dog joggers. They are one of my favorite things to wear. They are a newer brand, I would guess. It's more of a golfing brand or men's like business workwear brand. So yeah, Bird Dog's super good brand. They make a lot of pants, a lot of joggers, a lot of shorts, and they just started making polos, from my understanding, recently. So yeah, be on the lookout for Bird Dog. It's really noticeable because typically their liner is just like, it's either like a neon green or neon orange. But yeah, sells super well for us. This one sold for the asking price of $54.86 plus shipping. And yeah, these are always quick sellers as well. They usually sell within 30 days for our store. Next item is New Balance 990s. USA made New Balances I always pick up unless they are destroyed. These had some minimal, or I guess pretty aggressive wear, but they still sell really well. The cheapest pair in this model that sold, which by the way, New Balance has model tags here, M990GL4, look that up. You can see the sell-through rate and what they're selling for. The cheapest one I believe listed was, I don't know, or sold was like 40 bucks or something, and these were less than 10 at the thrift store. So even with this staining and stuff, still bought them. And yeah, they sold relatively quickly within 2 months. And yeah, New Balance 990s US made, or just any USA made New Balance for that matter, I typically purchase unless they're just absolutely destroyed, or I look them up and the sell-through is not doing super great, but most of the time it is. So New Balance 990s, the grandpa shoe. All right, we have the Cole Haan 0 Grand model. In recent videos, I've talked about the sole that looks like teeth and how we always pick those up. This is the other one that we pick up, this type of sole. These do really well for us. I've sold this exact shoe probably 3 or 4 or more times than that. Always get over $40 for them. These did not have insoles, but they still sold really well. Again, the style number is here, C28527. You can look that up and find the exact comps on them. This one sold within 30 days, I believe honestly within 3 weeks or 2 weeks. They sold for a best offer of $45 plus shipping. In our store, we try not to accept offers or give offers more than a 10% discount because we are reducing prices every single month on items. And so we just like to let things sit and handle their time or have their time, and then shoot out 10% off offers. And if we get offers, we'll counter at 10%. So yeah, these sold for best offer. Cole Haan, make sure you're looking up their shoes, as most of them are not great, but there's some models that do really well for us. All right, I have no clue how to pronounce this brand, but I always buy their jeans. I'm just going to call it Meredith. Meredith, you got the name. Okay, so these are a older jean. They do really well. I've probably sold 10 or 20 of them by now. I bought these at a thrift store down the street, Family Thrift. There's 5 or 6 pairs of these there. They're all different colors and different styles, but these do really well for us. We usually sell them for about minimum $40 up to, I've sold a pair before, I think for $70. A lot of people don't, know about this brand, but I think it's starting to catch on now that they do sell really well. We listed these about 2 weeks ago. They sold really quickly, and almost every single pair of them have the tag that looks like this, as well as the back always has that on the top right. So they're pretty easy to spot whenever you're just looking through the racks quickly. And again, they don't get priced, or they sell really well, and they also don't get priced super high, at least at our stores around here. All right. Here's another one, Turnbull and Acer, or yeah, I think it's Turnbull and Acer. I've known about this brand for about a year now. It's really low key. A lot of people don't know about this. And so, yeah, it's a super good brand. Most of the tags look like this, super not, it just doesn't scream at you at all. It's a very low key tag. But it's a very good brand. So I listed this last week. I found 3 or 4 of these at the thrift store at a Thrift Giant in downtown Dallas I paid $4.99 for each of them. This one had a little bit of yellowing right here on the collar, but it's still sold for $50 plus shipping. So great little find, great little quick flip. I've never sold one of these for under $40, and they just do really well in our store. So be on the lookout for Turnbull and Acer. Sorry, I always want to say the other way, but I think it's Acer. Their ties also do super good, by the way, like $20, $30 ties. And they're not actually super rare. So I found a few of them just looking through ties. All right. Next item is a Robert Graham. We still pick up Robert Grahams even though the prices have gone down quite a bit. They still do really well for us. And yeah, I mean, the more crazy they look, as people know, I'm not going to go over this too long. The more crazy they look, the better they do. The bigger the size, the better they do. We try to stay away from the Robert Graham X model and just ones that are super plain. But if they're a good price, we still pick them up. So, I mean, Robert Grahams, just make sure it's really hard to comp these out. Just make sure you try to get ones that are crazy and don't spend too much on them. This one sold for a best offer of $45.41 plus shipping. This one sat for about 4 months, and yeah, just we bought this mostly because that flip cuff is really cool, just with like the wine bottles or whatever those are. So next one, another pair of Yori joggers, gonna same as the last ones, exact same models, quick sellers. Like I said, had a few of these in here just to show you how quickly they sell. Listed them last week. They sold for $43.99. Shot an offer for 10% off. Someone accepted it. Had this little snag here, so I had to lower the price on them a little bit whenever I was listing them compared to the comps, but still sold really well. Another pair of Hokas. Threw these in there even though everyone knows Hokas, simply because the Bondi 7s, I want to let you guys know, are starting to really tank in price. 6 months ago, these used to sell for like minimum $55, at minimum $50, and these have just gone down drastically in value, and I think that's just because Hoka released their newest line of shoe. I believe the Clifton 9 and maybe a Bondi. I haven't really kept up with it, but they released new models, and these Bondi 7s, which used to do really good, do not do all that well anymore. So just be careful on the price that you're paying for them. These sat for quite some time, and they sold for $37.66. To be fair, these did have tearing in the back sole. I still buy Hokas with this tearing, and they always sell for me. They just sell for 25 to 40% less than the normal resale value of them. But typically whenever they have that tearing, I only have to pay $5 for them, and they'll sell for 30 to 40. So again, these sold for $37.66. Just be careful with the Bondi 7s. They don't go for as much as they used to. Stio is a really cool brand. New one to us, or newer. We've known about it for about 3 months now, but have found multiples of their items. I found these pants with some Sitka pants and at a Grace Bridge in Frisco. I believe I paid around $7 for these, and they sold relatively quickly. Don't have the SKU number there, so I can't tell you how long they've been sitting, but I believe they've been sitting for about 3 months, and they sold for a best offer of $38.35. We just picked up a vest, a woman's vest, new with tags by them, and we've sold a men's new with tags vest in the past month or two by them, and they both sell really quickly, so just be on the lookout. They make a lot of more of the fall, spring, and winter stuff than they do the summer stuff, so everything that they have, though, usually sells really well. Next item is this Untuck It blazer. My wife found this at the thrift store. I assume she probably paid less than $8 for it. Untuck It has been sort of declining in value as resellers now pick it up every time they see it. And so this blazer doesn't go for as much as other branded blazers typically go for, as much as you would think it would go for. We listed this, though, just 2 weeks ago, and I accepted an offer of $35 plus shipping. So still a good sale. I believe it had a 100% sell-through rate on it, which is really good for blazers. If you're in that category, you know that that's pretty high for most blazer brands. So still picked it up, still listed it, sold within a week or two, and yeah, quick little sale. Another pair of Hokas. This one sold for the asking price, $32.87, even though they had this tear here on both shoes. Again, I mean, people pass up these because they're in really poor condition in their minds, but people still like to buy these for yard work and stuff like that. In fact, I believe this guy messaged me and said he wanted them for yard work. And so, yeah, people still pick these up. They don't want to go buy a $140 pair of new Hokas to wear them out in the yard, but they want something comfortable to wear. And so whenever I buy these, like this pair for $5.99 and sell it for $32.87 relatively quickly, I just can't complain. And a lot of people do pass these up at that price because of the wear, but people just still want them for normal work that where they can rough them up and stuff. So next item is a Ralph Lauren. This one was made out of 100% linen, which is why I picked it up. 100% linen does really well for us, even with it being a size small. It still is really good to sell. We always pick up Ralph Lauren stuff that has linen in it, as long as it's, you know, $8 or less. This one sold for the asking price of $36.94. Relatively quick sale. Actually, yeah, really quick sale within 30 days. So yeah, Ralph Lauren linen stuff does really well for us, and I would recommend always picking it up if you see it. Next item is a pair of Lululemon shorts, size large. You guys know we pick up Lululemon all the time. It's just really hard to find it nowadays where it's cheap. Our Goodwills, I'm sure like most Goodwills, have a set price on items, and that's typically where we're able to find Lululemon for a good price. And so that is just where we typically buy this stuff. So these are probably from a Goodwill for $6.99, and they sold for the asking price of $33.13. All right, next item. I'm going to start speeding up here so this video doesn't end up being 40 minutes. A pair of On Clouds, really rough shape, really small size, so don't sell super well. Size 5.5, smaller size, the worse they sell. But still, I think I paid like $5 for these at Thrift Giant, $4.99, and they sold relatively quickly within 2 months. And they sold for a best offer of $30 plus shipping. Next item is going to be this North Face. We just listed this, I believe, last week. Yep. Last week it was a rain jacket, had some spots on it, but the sell-through rate on it was super good. And this sold for a best offer of $31.87, sent out 10%, someone accepted it. And yeah, great sale, quick sale. North Face we typically don't buy, it's usually priced up, but if you find items that are cheaper, that's great. I think we paid around $7 or $8 for that item. Page jeans, these are men's. We do not pick up women's Page jeans, we only pick up men's, but we don't buy every pair of men's jeans. They have to be the right price, and we look up this model every single time, as well as the size with that model to make sure that the sell-through rate on it is good. This one sold for $29.57, so best offer, and these were listed about 2 weeks ago, so maybe just over a week. So really quick seller. Page jeans we usually get about this price, $30 plus shipping, so we like to buy them for $8 or under. So yeah, just make sure you're looking up that model. Ariat work fire resistance. Ariat's a great brand, but the fire resistant makes it even better. This we listed just last week as well. It had some little stains around, you know, the collar or the cuff and stuff, but even with that, it's not a big deal. Lower front stain. These are work shirts. People typically don't really care that they're going to get messed up because they plan to mess them up working. As long as they don't have any major tears or anything, you should be okay with this brand and being the fire resistant. So this sold for best offer of $31.38. Again, 10% off, and again a really quick sale. Next item is Five Brothers. This is a older brand. I believe this is vintage. Yeah, vintage in the title. Five Brothers. They make a lot of flannels. They do really well. Newer brand to us. Discovered it 3 months ago, but we haven't found one until recently. I believe we listed this 2-3 weeks ago. And yeah, 3XL, great size, listed it for $28.88. Got a best offer of $25.99 plus shipping. This will go in a priority padded envelope and just quick $8. And yeah, quick sale. Sorry. Next one's a Peter Millar. Again, we pick up a lot of Peter Millar. Does really well in our store. We listed this, I believe, like last week. And the Peter Millar polos that are long sleeve do even better for us. And so we always pick up the long sleeve ones. I know I paid, I think, $8.99 for this, but for it to sell in a week or two, and it sold for best offer of $25.99, we still make $10 at least on the item. Quick sell for us, even with a little hole here from the tag that was at Goodwill, and then a couple little stains on the back. If it did not have these stains, it would have sold probably for, maybe $30 to $35, but not a big deal. So quick sale. Next one is Eton. If you don't know this brand, it's really good. Eton is they usually carry it at Neiman Marcus, and their shirts are like $200 new, but they don't resell for a whole lot compared to that $200 ASP or retail MSRP. This one sold for a best offer of $25.99, but we have gotten Eton prices If they're like really crazy, which we've sold 1 or 2 times, they've sold for like 50 to 60, but typically we sit around the $25 to $35 mark on Eton shirts as long as they're in perfect condition. This one had a little hole from, again, a Goodwill tag. Our Goodwill's here notorious for putting holes and tags in the worst spots, but we deal with it, and we just keep buying things, and people still keep buying them even with the small little defects like that. So Eton, great band to be on the lookout for if you're in the button down section. We usually find it at least once a week, and it does really well in our store. Ralph Lauren, this is a chambray Oxford shirt, XLT. That's the main reason why we bought it, was because of the tall size. It had quite a bit of distressing on the cuff ends, as well as like some spots here on the collar. Not too big of a deal though with an XLT like this, little tear hole in the back. It sold for the asking price of $24.87. Again, big sizes, and also we always buy these colored pony polos. They seem to do really well compared to just a standard color pony. So those two things, the XLT as well as the pony combined, made it worth buying. I'm sure we didn't pay more than $5 for this item since it was flawed so much. Another Viore t-shirt. Picked this up a couple weeks ago, listed it about 2 weeks ago. Bought, I think, 8 of these Viore t-shirts at a thrift giant. Paid $2.99 each for them. It sold for best offer of $26.51. Again, Viore is just a quick selling brand right now. It's almost hotter than Lulu in my opinion whenever it comes to the resale of it. All right, Prana. Not going to talk too much about this because I am just not getting into Prana. A lot of it is really bad, but there are some items that are pretty good. I found a few of these pants at Thrift Giant. I don't remember how much I paid. I believe $6.99 for them, maybe a little less by $1 or $2. But I've sold almost all of them. This might have been the last one from that haul. So they sold really quickly. It took about 3 weeks to 4 weeks for them to sell. About 3 weeks for them to sell. I took a best offer on them for $22.85. So I'm just learning this brand. I mean, there's a lot to it, and I don't know it too well, so I'm not going to speak in definitives on it yet. But in the future, hopefully I have enough knowledge on it to give you guys some insight on it. Fairway and Green, typically known as a really bad brand, or FNG Tech, typically known as a bad brand in the reseller world, but their quarter zips do pretty well for us. We typically get around this price, $20 to $30. This one sold for the ask price of $26.05. We usually always pick it up if it's like $5, $6, $7 or less. And this pattern does really well too. Like if it's a solid color, we like to stay around the $5 mark, $6 mark. But yeah, we usually get about 20 to 30 for them. And yeah, they're selling really well right now. It's fall, well, it's actually winter, and people are golfing, so they're picking up that stuff like crazy right now on eBay. And it being winter, we still sell Peter Millar polos, golf polos like crazy. So we ship out a Peter Millar polo almost every single day, and we buy multiples all the time. This is just a standard summer comfort, no logo, medium, sold for $22.44. It only took less than 2 months to sell in our store. Peter Millar, we just always pick up and have always sold, and I think we will always do that even if it sort of falls off, just because we like golf wear and we like brands like this. So unless it just is like a break-even thing, we'll probably always pick it up. But right now we're still making minimum $10 on Peter Millar stuff, as long as it's like the summer comfort model and stuff, and doesn't have any stains or anything. Mizzen and Main, it's going down in value as time goes on. I assume in a year from now it'll be around the 20 to 25 mark, like Untuck it was a year or two ago, but it's still doing really well for us right now, and so we keep buying it. We usually spend no more than $8 on these shirts, and yeah, they're just quick sellers for us, even it being a small trim fit. This sold within 3 months for us. It being small and trim fit took it a little longer to sell, but it sold for a best offer of $22.29. Next item is Cricket. This brand's falling off kind of heavily compared 6 months ago. This was really good. I'm sure whenever summer hits back up, this will start getting up back to the $25 mark consistently. Right now, I got a best offer on this for $22.37. Typically, we can sell them for around $20 average. Not really a known brand by resellers, but still a good brand to pick up if you can get it for pretty cheap. That's, again, is the tag, made in Austin. Super cool, or designed in Austin, made in Peru. Super cool little golf brand, but made out of cotton. You wouldn't expect it to be worth anything, but it actually is. All right, we have a Ralph Lauren sort of like Western style shirt. Had a couple flaws on the sleeves, just some fading and stuff like that. Picked this up because of the pattern. That's the only reason why. Probably paid about $5 to $6 for this. Took a best offer on it for $23.60 plus shipping, and it sold in less than about a month and a half. So not too bad. Quick little sale. And yeah, we usually like to pick up like geometric stuff like this for Ralph Lauren. Bogesi or Bogosi, I don't know how to pronounce it. We don't really pick this up anymore unless it's like $4 or less. It used to be a really good brand like Eton and Ichiro is, but yeah, just these geometric pattern shirts and stuff do semi-okay. So $4 or less. This sold for the asking price of $21.32. It did pretty well. We probably got this at Goodwill on a half off day. And yeah, they're a little bit slower sellers. This one sat for a little over 3 months, maybe pushing 4 months. But they still do pretty decent for us, and we don't mind paying $4 to make 10 to 15. 2 to 3xing our investment is great for us. That is our business model if it's going to sit long like that. Next one is a Ralph Lauren Indian Madras. These ones do really well. This sold for a little less because it's a small, but if you get a bigger size, they sell really well, around the $25 to $35 mark. It's made out of 100% cotton, but the bleeding Madras is just really the pattern that it has, and it has to say that on the top. So I'm sure a lot of people know about this one. This one, again, sells, I believe, 100% sell-through rate. And so I got a best offer of $22 on this item plus shipping, and it sold in 6 months. So sat much longer, but I probably priced it too high whenever I listed it and had to wait for it to come down in list price to make that sale. Last item is this women's Roper pearl snap, size small. We usually just will buy like Roper stuff if it's crazy like this. I'm sure we saw this and we're like, oh, we should probably look that up. Probably looked it up, and it had a pretty good sell-through rate, so we picked it up. This was listed 2 weeks ago, and it sold for a best offer of $22 plus shipping. And again, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and turn on those notifications, as we're going to try to put these out 1 to 2 times a week, the what sold videos. We will be back from our honeymoon in 2 weeks, and whenever we get back, we plan to do a video on each one of our processes we have in our store, and all the videos we can about how we run our store to help you guys. If you have any video requests or any comments about questions about how we do things, leave them in the comments below. And I hope you guys have a good week, and I will see you in the next one.